A very warm evening. Welcome. This is Sports Zone on Joy Prime. We're live on social media as well from now till 10:30 p.m. Looking back on some of the best action from the world of sports. And tonight, we will also look ahead to the Black Stars game on Tuesday, which is just tomorrow afternoon, when they take on Sudan in what should be a make or break game. Anything but victory in that match would spell the end of the Black Stars AFCON journey. And for the first time in 20 years, they will not be qualifying for the AFCON if they do not win that game against Sudan. That is how precarious the situation is, which was exacerbated by a very unexpected draw against Sudan on Thursday at the Accra Sports Stadium. We'll look back on that game with an eye on the match on Tuesday. How can Otto Addo get the best of Kwesi Appiah's team? Or should we just throw our arms in the air, give up, and try to rebuild a team and target the AFCON in 2027? Where are we? Or is there still some hope? Where will that inspiration come from? Who will step up and become a hero and avoid a national embarrassment? Since 2004, Ghana has made it to every single AFCON. Do these crop of players and this crop of administrators want to be the ones to not take us to the AFCON? Is that what they want? How can we prevent this from happening? We'll have that conversation here on the show. There's a lot of drama on the continent. Nigeria have boycotted their return leg against Libya because of mistreatment they received at the airport, spending over 15 hours trapped and stranded in a Libyan airport before eventually deciding they've had enough and they flew back home. What is happening on the continent? In 2024, should these things be allowed to happen? We will get into details of that. Burkina Faso had no such problems. They became the first country to qualify for the AFCON in 2025. Yesterday, they beat Burundi by 2-0 to cement their place. And they don't even play their home matches in Burkina Faso. They play their home games in Côte d'Ivoire, and yet they had no problems whatsoever in securing qualification. So that's all to come. We will find time for all the other issues around the AFCON qualifiers. We can come back home here as well and speak about the Ghana Premier League, where for the fourth match in a row, House of Oak have not lost a game. In fact, they picked up all 3 points, their first away win in forever in this game against Young Apostles. We'll show you some highlights from there as well. We'll wrap up the conversation, hopefully, by hearing from you. I am hoping that this evening you could join us via Zoom. My director tells me there's 1 or 2 issues she's trying to sort out. But once that is done, I'll connect to you via Zoom. So make sure you keep your room well lit and pray that that Zoom machine works. And then we can connect to all of you and speak to you, get your opinions on what you make of the Black Stars. This show is proudly sponsored by Guinness. And Guinness Match Day will have Daniel Cranting. He's been preparing some detailed tactical analysis for you of what he believes is the problem with the Black Stars team. So we will get into that as well here on the show. The show is proudly sponsored also by Syntex Tank. Whatever your preferred color or water project is, make sure that you get a water tank made by Syntex Tank. It's durable, it's strong, and it's tough. The show is also proudly sponsored by Kivo Gary 4-in-1 Mix, which has now been blamed for why Kudus has not performed. But I can confirm that Kivo Gary 4-in-1 Mix is not the reason Kudus missed the chance. The fan who said that, he's lying. I can tell you that. And we're still building up to the Joy Sports Invitational. Today, I paid a visit to Piva again to speak to their CEO, Frank J. Mensah. Oh, the Piva guys, they have energy, brother. They have energy. And by the way, they gave me lots of products that I'll give to the guys today. So everybody be happy, say hooray, today's your day. Today's your lucky day. We'll bring them here somewhere along the show. But thanks to the guys at Piva for everything you've done. And soon to be sponsors of this very, very show. We will take a short break. When we come back, I will introduce my guest and then show you how you can get in touch with us and join on the show as well. This is Sports Zone. Don't go anywhere. No. Welcome back. This is Sports Zone on Joy Prime. My name is Fentio Tahiri Fentio. Welcome to the show. You can get in touch with us via Twitter or X. Just use the hashtag Sports Zone. For a while, I've been notified that I don't read the Twitter messages. Today, I'll start from there. On WhatsApp, the number is on your screen, 0240-910-330, 0240-910-330. Welcome to the show. Proudly sponsored by Guinness, by Syntex Tank, and by Kivo 4-in-1 Gary Mix. The guests are seated here. Sijofe, Philip Achrim, and Daniel Cranston. Guys, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, yeah.
We've got a lot to cover today, so listen, I don't want to waste a lot of time. There's so much happening. International Week, it's always drama on the continent, and we will get into all the issues of the Black Stars, but there was no story bigger today than the story emanating out of Libya. Nigeria have abandoned their AFCON qualifier against Libya because they were locked up in the airport in Al-Barak for more than 15 hours. The Libyans said they would not let them leave the airport. And after they eventually left the airport, look at this. They kept them there for hours upon hours, upon hours, upon hours, upon hours. The players slept at the airport for more than 15 hours. And when they eventually left the airport, they decided they had had enough and then left to go back to Nigeria. They said they will not play the game. But I asked you to get me that video of the captain speaking. I hope you have it, because he detailed everything that he said happened. But guys, I mean, you've been following this story. This is an insane story. In 2024, I couldn't believe this was still possible.
Yeah. And this is not the first time some of these antics happening on the continent. That's what is disappointing. And it has been enabled because in the past, CAF hasn't done anything about it. And so countries know that they can continue to do these things when they feel like when they feel like they've been aggrieved, then they can take the law into their own hands and do what they want to do. This is it's a very sad reflection of football on the continent. Libya should be ashamed. This is not sportsmanship. This is not in the spirit of the game, and it's not the best. And for me, the funny thing is the country in question, or the country at the center of this in Nigeria, we're obviously going to bring a lot of headlines and global eyeballs. And unfortunately, the football on the pitch is not what is being spoken about at the end of this AFCON qualifiers, but what happened to the Nigerian players in Libya. And I'm really keen on seeing what CAF will do, because if you remember, even the CAF Champions League semi-final last season, if you remember, it was politics that led to a team not being able to travel, and CAF literally dashed the 3 goals and in both games. Yeah. And then one team advanced to the final. That was very lazy work from CAF, and I'm really interested in seeing what they will do, because I put it to you, they will replay this game, nothing will happen to Libya. That is CAF. And that's what they've done over the years. So I dare them to shock me. I really want CAF to shock us and hand out a proper punishment for what Libya did.
And, Sicho, I don't know, man, but I couldn't believe this happened. I mean, what next now? Because CAF have released a statement, but the statement doesn't really say much about what else is happening. NFF released a 20-paragraph statement of their own. detailing the incident. Trust Econ also took to social media, posted a video. In fact, I sent a video to Fabrizio, I believe, who obtained it. These are parts of that statement detailing everything that happened. And I don't know how much time we have to go through it. But he says their pilot's initial destination was Benghazi until he was instructed by the control tower that he could not land in Benghazi despite having all the required landing papers and having completed all the formalities before leaving Uyo, but should proceed to the international Abrak International Airport. And then Nigeria, they started by saying that the airport was not international, but a conversation for something else. The delegation, which included 22 players and team officials, was shown. So this is NFF, Nigeria Football Federation's narration of the incident, of what exactly happened. So just bear with me. It said the delegation, which included 22 players and team officials, was shown scant respect by the airport authorities who applied curt manners and stern tones. In other words, they were talking to them by heart, right? Basa basa. No official of the Libyan Football Federation was at the airport to receive the delegation, as is the best practice globally. So they were not met by anyone whatsoever. Few minutes after midnight, they learned that there had been a word from high authorities that the Nigerian delegation should be delayed for a minimum of 10 hours at the airport for what they falsely claimed was done to their team in Nigeria. So there's that. The NFF learned that the Embassy of Nigeria in Tripoli had written a fortnight earlier to the authorities in Benghazi that they would want to welcome the Nigerian delegation on arrival. This application was said to have been rejected outright. So they got to Al-Abarak and there was no one to meet them. The NFF repeated calls to officials of CAF, Nigeria's FIFA Council member Ahmad Jupinik, and other authorities even wrote a letter to CAF detailing what exactly happened and asking CAF to punish the rare bestiality visited on the beautiful game. Nothing happened. Okay? Now, after spending many more hours waiting for the Al-Abrak Airport Authority to sell fuel to refill the chartered value aircraft, the Nigerian delegation departed the Al-Abrak Airport at exactly 15:05 hours, bound for the city of Kano and onwards to the federal capital, Abuja. So eventually, they found their way out and they decided that they will not play the game anymore and then went back to Nigeria. And the Libyans have been spreading this picture that this was what Nigeria put them through at the airport in Port Harcourt. And all of it suggesting that what they did to them was reciprocity, really. They were reciprocating what they did. Hey, Benaya, is it that F does not work on your keyboard of what? What is AFCON? My friend, behave yourself. Thank you. Sicho, but on this matter, where do you stand?
Well, look, CAF are in a very difficult place because it's not easy for CAF to. I don't think CAF even have the body to investigate this matter properly. They are not well equipped to investigate it because when it comes to air traffic control, the FA of Libya have got no control whatsoever.
Yeah.
And if they claim that air traffic control said that the plane can land in Benghazi and so they were redirected to another place, that is really out of their hands. And when it comes to immigration, customs, and all issues, the FA can't deal with it. I remember, I think in the Chan, when the whole issue in the northern, so
Morocco and Algeria,
CAF couldn't do much about it because that was a political matter, governments and what have you. There was blockade in the airspaces, so they couldn't fly directly and all of that. And I have a sense that this could be one of those issues where CAF will look bad, but to be fair to CAF, they wouldn't have the required machinery to properly ask the right questions of the authorities and investigate. Because, look, to be honest, it's not the first time flights have been redirected to other airports.
Yes.
It's not the first time that pilots have been denied landing in airports where they have papers and everything to land. So they can have thousands of excuses as to why they didn't allow the Nigerian team to land. And they will tell them, it's unfortunate it's Nigeria, but because of these protocols, because of this safety, which happens everywhere in the world, Nigeria couldn't land here. And so it becomes an African matter, right? When you fly across the continent, it's so difficult to, it's so disorganized, it's so expensive and everything. And the players have had to go through it. And I feel for CAF, I really do, because everybody's going to be looking at them, everybody's going to be blaming them. But the way the Libyans have carved the narrative that the air traffic control, and Nigeria even said it, that they got a message from the air traffic control. That's not a Libyan FA. That is not a Libyan sports ministry. That is the aviation sector saying, hello guys, you can't land here. Get to land here. And when you land there, we'll sort it out. And it's a shame the way it's panned out, but I feel for CAF because it's going to be very difficult.
What would be a logical outcome in this?
Look, to be honest,
replay the game in a neutral venue?
I don't see where they replay the game.
Give the 3 points to Nigeria.
Now, that is where the difficulty comes in because I don't see, the calendar is so choked now. When you look at the international breaks that have, Africa barely has time for friendlies even.
Yeah. And if no friendly window.
If you are going to replay the game, are you going to replay it in Libya?
That is another question altogether, right?
Neutral venue.
So, no, neutral venue. At what time? For me, I think the time they're going to replay the game is what is going to be the most difficult.
Right. Finding space for it.
Finding space for it. The calendar is so choked now. And even before this current calendar that we are running, Africa never really has time for even friendly games. Ghana only played some friendlies a couple of months ago. But for about 3 years, we're always finding it difficult to find those spaces. And even if it's a space demarcated for friendlies, it's difficult to push a competitive game there. I don't know. Yeah. That is why I'm saying I feel for CAF. I don't know the best way forward. It's a test case, and hopefully they find the right solutions to it. But whatever happened was a shame to the continent and African football, really.
A big shame, really. Do we have that AFCON video speaking right after they landed in Nigeria, giving a brief update of what exactly the players went through?
Back to Nigeria with the team. I just want to say a big thank you to all the support that we've been getting. Yeah, out of energy. It's been a long 24 hours. We've tried to do our best to keep our spirits high. This will be the last thing I'm going to say about it. Football is all about respect, and that starts by respecting ourselves. So yeah, we took a stand. I'm proud of the team's decision, and yeah, we'll be waiting to see what will be the follow-up from here. Whatever the consequences are, we will be ready to continue our journey to AFCON 2025 in November. Just got back to Nigeria with the team.
Yeah, they'll come to make a standby.
All right, so AFCON there. Well, bad for Nigeria, bad for Libya, worse for Ghana. They were in action on Thursday. Their opponents had no such problem, Sudan. They just waltzed in and took 1 point away. The game happened on Thursday at the Crassport Stadium. Let's take a look at the highlights of that particular match, and then we can come back here and take some critical look at where you believe things went wrong, or where you believe you really couldn't fault anyone. Take a look at this. So that's that. We got a 0-0 draw. You know what, Benai, let's go through the groups, eh? I just want to show people what exactly this means and where we are right now in terms of the AFCON group, so you know what the reality of the situation is, okay? So let's go through what the AFCON groups look like. We'll talk about that, Ghana. First of all, I'm showing the Ghana table. We'll begin with the Ghana table for sure, and what that draw has done, or what that draw means for us as things stand. We only have 2 points from 3 matches, and Angola, on the other hand, have 9 points. They have maximum points. Well, is your table frozen, Muftau, Nabila, Abdullah, and Benaya? But Angola have 9 points. Sudan, on the other hand, have 4 points. And then Ghana has 2 points, as far as that's concerned. And then, what it means, basically, is that this game against Sudan on Tuesday is make or break. But how did we get here? Sicho, I don't know what you make of, Thursday's game. 0-0 draw. It doesn't matter how you look at it. We didn't win.
Yes, we didn't win, and it's not very surprising on the back of the results that we've been recording in recent years, right? When you look at the performance in isolation, you're thinking it's an improvement on what we saw when we played against Angola and Niger, but that is only an improvement on those 2 games. But when you cast your mind back to how well the Black Stars have done in the last year, in the last 2 years, in the last 3 years, this has been building up. This is not, I always say it's not in isolation. It's not, This is not a shock, right? There are results in football, or there are spells in football where you think that, oh, that is a shock. This team is too good to be going through this based on what they've done. But look, we went to the AFCON, we exited. In that AFCON that we qualified for, the last AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire, we had to wait till our final game to score late to qualify. Then we went to the AFCON, we were knocked out of the group stage. I don't even want to go further back because we've been disastrous. Then we start the World Cup campaign. It was bad until Otto got two back-to-back wins and to put us back on track. Then the AFCON qualifiers follows the same pattern that we've seen over the last couple of years. So Ghana have had no right or whatsoever to feel like we've got Sudan, you've got Niger, and you've got Angola, and Ghana has got to go through.
Automatically.
We are Ghana doesn't win. We need to get to the pitch and play. And so it's not surprising that we are not doing well on the back of all that we've done. But what is surprising is how we've allowed ourselves to come this low. Okay. Right? When you look at the rankings in the world, we keep dropping. When you look at games that we are losing, we keep losing to teams that otherwise are not.
I rank way below.
Way below Ghana. And so that is the reality. And that is what Ghanaians must appreciate now. That is the reality of where our football currently is. That is why when anybody...
That's your real level.
That is our level now, our smoothness level now. That is why anybody who starts to run football in this country, if any of them stand out there to smash their brains, hit their chest, and spew things and blame people instead of looking at themselves and asking themselves how they steered Ghana football to this level, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. All these players, when they play for their clubs, they are brilliant. But when they come into the Black Stars environment, they seem to be lost.
Why is that? Is that an issue of coaching? Is it just a case that the coach cannot put the people together? So that's the Ghana group there. So 9-4-2-1. If we beat Sudan on Tuesday, surely we go up to 5 points. We have a chance with 2 games remaining. If we don't beat Sudan tomorrow, let's even say it ends in a draw, Sudan go on to 5 points, Ghana goes on to 3 points. With 2 games remaining, Ghana doesn't play Sudan, so you don't have it in your own hands anymore. Because literally, Sudan can qualify just by winning their remaining 2 games. So it suddenly leaves your hand, and then now you have to pray for other teams to drop points. But if Ghana were to win tomorrow against Sudan, then they would have qualification in their own hands, because that would mean if they win their remaining 2 games, and Sudan also does the same, Ghana will still qualify. So win tomorrow and still have qualification in your own hands. Don't win tomorrow and there's no chance. In fact, if they lose, that one crowd, it's over. It's done. It's done. So I was asking you, is it an issue of talent or is it an issue of... Surely you've explained that it's not an issue of talent, because you say these players are all brilliant at their club level. So it means that it's not an issue of talent. So what is it?
It's an amalgamation of long spells of poor football decision-making that has come together to roost.
Riddle me.
Right. Now, so when you run football, everywhere in the world, they tell you that you need to pay attention to the feeding of the main team, which is the national team.
Okay. Call it the conveyor belt.
Conveyor belt. Ghana's under-17 has been terrible. Men's football under-17 has been terrible for the longest time. We don't produce any quality. We don't remember any notable names. We don't do well in under-17 competitions. Ghana's under-20 today, they got walloped by 5-0. Well, hopefully Desmond is able to build a team. But we've not been able to successfully transfer players, move them from 17 to 20 and move them to... Look, the last time Ghana had any good spell, the last time, was when we were able to move the 2009 under-20 team to the senior national team. Look, and the under-20 team were knocking on the senior national team. Yeah. So there were many senior players in that national team who knew that they couldn't slack, who knew they had to grab the opportunity because the young men were ready and hungry. As we speak now, is there any player at the under-20 level, think about it, in Ghana, that we can say that we've got 2 major injuries, so we are going to drag them straight into the national team and they will do a job?
The question is, do you even know them?
I don't have to. I don't have to know them. Those who are working with, sometimes we get surprised by players. At an under-20 level, you don't really know them, but when they step up to the national team, you're like, there's something cooking. So you can trust the process. But friends, do you trust any process from our juvenile teams that if you are going to a tournament, 3 key players are injured, we are able to tap into our junior national team and say that we've got 3 other good, brilliant footballers who are going to come into the national team and do a job, just like 2010.
The only reliable conveyor belt for our national team right now is to get players to naturalize. The FA does celebration and announcement videos over it. I mean, that's what it is. It's not it's almost as if they've given up on the promotion.
Yeah, so that's a massive problem. It's a massive problem, and most of these players...
Okay, so that's an issue.
Yeah.
It still doesn't explain why the talent isn't performing, though.
No. So there's something about character, culture, mentality. Look, you need to build it from the scratch. Wearing the national colours is not the same as wearing your club colours, right? And you need players to understand that from the youth level. And when you speak to the likes of Michael Essien, when you speak to Derek Watson, they will tell you they knew what it meant to wear the under-17 shirt. They knew what Ghanaians expected. The same for the under-20. So when they played for the national team, that wasn't new. I'm not sure that players like Kudus, as good as they are, players like Niyama, as good as they are, really, really understand what it means to be a Ghanaian superstar who the country is depending on you. So whenever they wear the national team shirt, they play very heavy, they play very afraid, and they don't look like players who are playing with any freedom or whatsoever. That, for me, is the main thing. And so we need to fix that. If we don't,
Do you think there are commitment issues as well?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I said the DFA president... Listen. These footballers are professionals. Yeah. Everybody knows what it means to play in the AFCON. They want to be there. They just don't know how to play together as a team. They just don't know how to deal with the pressure. It's so unfair for us Ghanaians to question the commitment and the commitment of these players.
And the passion.
And the passion of these players. Because if we've got questions to ask about commitment and passion, we need to ask those in charge of our football. Because their commitment to under-17 and the passion of it is not there. Their commitment to under-20 and the passion of it is not there. So we can't just move away from them. And when the president was saying that if these boys are not ready to play, he's going to call some play. Who is he going to call?
Who is he going to call?
And look, these players are not stupid. Kudus knows that he's irreplaceable. It is true. Jordan and why is the next batch of players? If this was in 2009 and our midfielders were slacking, you just know what Jamal Bedu and Rabiu were working. So the GM president said at the time that, look, the under-20s are knocking, they will come in.
Yeah.
You can look at that team and say, look.
In 2010 AFCON, they dropped Suleiman Tari.
And they
brought in Ajman Badu and Rabiu.
They went all the way to the final.
Yes.
This time you're telling the boys that if they are not here, you call. Who are you going to call? Your local Black Stars, at that time, the Chan team was making final.
Yeah. In 2009, they make
the Chan final. So if you're telling us at that time you're going to bring local players, we would have said, oh, hang on a minute, they've got some quality.
And one of the players that was a critical member of that 2010 AFCON final team came from the Chan team, Samuel Inkum, right back.
Absolutely. So around that time...
Played every game.
If we're telling these boys that you're not committed, you're not showing enough passion, we've got enough players to come into the side. Don't look at the performance of the other national teams and be worried. These players don't look like they're worried because you're not working.
DK, there's a lot of issues here, man. So I don't know where you want to pick it from, but for me, what I'm very worried about is that this is a very precarious situation. That we've seen teams or we've seen coaches or federations build teams, but there's a way to do it. You can build teams and still be qualifying for these tournaments and be consistent in going to AFCON, maybe round of 16 exit. Yeah. Like, well, you can see that. That's what Aliou Cisse did. So everybody talks about time, we need time. We can see, when they are building, we need to see the signs. At the moment, my biggest issue is I'm not seeing consistent signs. It's like you see one today, and tomorrow you see nothing.
To be frank, if you are starting from scratch, that's how it is. If the foundation is strong and there's a new cycle, like what we saw in 2009, we knew that the 06, 08 team was fading out and a new team was coming out. So we were in a rebuild. But there was consistency because the foundation was strong. So the new guys came in and they were partnering with some of the guys who were there before, and there was a smooth transition, and then it continues like that. But we don't have a foundation this time around, as Situ has said. It is fact. And you see, it might sound like a broken record, it might sound like we are giving excuses, but everything is connected.
Yeah.
Everything is connected. Your youth football is connected to your league, is connected. It all comes up to the Black Stars. So to be frank, I genuinely feel like if our league was failing, yet our juvenile teams were doing well, we would have seen much better performances.
Right.
If the league was doing well and the juvenile teams were failing, we would have seen at least much better performances, and performances because there's quality all around and there's proper competition. This time around, when we say the players don't understand what it means to wear the shirt, it's not a jab at them.
Right.
It's a jab at the system that we've created. Exactly. So for me, it saddens me because as Citro said, they are professionals. Look, I don't want to go to the AFCON more than some of these. They understand what it means to get there. But unfortunately, we've created that system where it is almost impossible for anything to succeed. And again, the funny thing, and I on Friday I said I'll leave it for Citro, but you left something out. The GFA president said that players in Nigeria won't make it into his local team.
Yep.
When Ghana assembled the best of the best in our local league to the CHAN last year, who kicked us out?
Niger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it was Niger?
And the team had Dreams FC players.
Oh, okay. So
the team that he says Niger's players can't get in.
So that's
Niger
a lie.
assembled their local best
Yes,
players.
locally based. Kicked out our locally based players. But Niger, with all their foreign contingent, can't get 5 of them into Dreams FC. Yeah, that's the logic. And
you see, that is where I'll tie it back to Citro's point. The reality and complete delusion. The ones running the football are failing to realize that they are taking us down a ditch and they need to start working. So they are talking like we are in 2006 and this is Ghana. And the results are based on the players. Like everything else is working and it is just the players who are failing to work. Now, take me out of male football. Under 17 women's team doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Under 20 women's team, this first cycle, when they went to the World Cup, this was the first time this group was playing any proper international competition. And we saw they were playing with fear and they went out in the group stages. Now you expect the Black Queens who have not been to an AFCON, 2 AFCONs.
2 editions.
2 editions.
And now returning.
Where are they going to get their where is, the conveyor belt has been cut from the roots. So which group of players are going to be progressed into the next Black Queens team? And you see, and you look at the Black Queens in isolation and say, oh, they are not doing well. Or when they go to an AFCON and they are underperforming. But again, everything is connected.
Yeah.
Right.
It is impossible. Look across the continent of Africa. And that's another point I wanted to touch on. You premised your point on, yes, Senegal had issues, but he was able to build a team and he saw consistency. The growth of the Senegalese league, the strength of their juvenile teams coincided with what the main team was doing.
Yeah.
And the evidence was that they won international competition.
Yeah, they won CHAN.
In the same year that their main team
the 70 AFCON, the 20 AFCON, CHAN, and
everything. Even beach football.
Yeah, they won it.
And you see, that is how you need to look at it, not just isolate because they realized the problem. Senegal just didn't focus on the Teranga Lions and Aliou Cissé. Aliou Cissé his successes were because of the work that the FA had done. In that, look at the team that
was a bedrock to the success.
Look at the team that lost the 2019 final to Algeria. And look at the midfield composition. It was Idrissa Gana Gueye and
Sheku
Kouyaté.
Yeah.
And Crepin Diatta.
He was a youngster.
He was a youngster then.
Yeah.
Gana Gueye and Kouyaté were not needed to start games when they won in 2022. Sarr had come in, and this other youngster, forgotten. But it was 2 youngsters who had come in and literally taken. In fact, when you look at the spine of the Senegalese team in the last AFCON, it's completely changed.
Lamine Camara is...
and the talents are there.
Yeah.
And you know that it's just about... That's why they can confidently say that, okay, Aliou, we will not renew your... Because anybody who comes in can continue the work that they've done. So it's not... Let's not isolate these things and constantly make it a coaching problem. Look, you said Kusi Apia was a problem. He said Akuna was a problem. He said Milo was a problem. He said Kusuzu was a problem. He said Atu, we are still where we are. You are wrong. Accept it. He said Wakasu was a problem. He said Bijet was a problem. He said Dede is a problem. He said they are not there. We are still where we are. You are wrong.
Where was the problem?
Every day.
Jordan is a problem.
Somebody's husband, somebody's boyfriend, somebody's father, somebody's brother is catching heat because fix the roots. That's the thing. Where we've reached, it's full circle. Everything has collapsed. unfortunately, we can't lean on anything again. The foundation is broken. And until you fix that, it will be like this. It will constantly...
You will not find the consistency.
Today you think we are doing well, then we'll dip again. That's just...
So the only consistent thing would be the failure.
Yeah,
every success would be accidental.
And we need to start telling them the truth in the face, because when Ghana football collapses, it collapses on all of us.
Yes.
Look, at under 17 level, I am very confident that the GFE and its people don't pick the best under 17 talents in the country. They pick players they know, players who some of them own, hope that they get them good deals at that level. In the end, maybe because they're not good enough, they never rise to the top. And a genuine young talent who are brilliant, they would find their way through corners and in the end pop up. And when they pop up and they are 21 or they are 19, instead of us to have brought them to under 20, we call them into the Black Stars. Yeah. Then at under 20 level, the same thing repeats itself, right? How is it that every single season, there's a new right-to-do player that we call into the Black Stars? But when under 20 and under 17 are going to play tournaments, where right-to-do have got many talents at those 8 categories, we barely find some of their players in our youth team. Doesn't make sense. That France is going to play a youth tournament and there aren't players from Clairefontaine in France. Doesn't make any sense. That you've got one of the best academies, not in Africa, but in the world, in Ghana. But when you are going to play a juvenile tournament, you don't find their players. Now, their players who go through the system, they'll go to Nigeria, they will have no international experience or whatsoever. And when they get a big money move, like Niama, you jump on him. Because you jump on him.
Because it is not possible. The point Sicho is making, it's not possible that a player like Enes Niama and a player like Kamaldeen Suleiman, as talented as they are,
completely missed.
That we never spotted them good enough to play for us at under 17 and under 20. And
Ibrahim Osman.
And the only time we call them is when they've made a big money move from their time at Northland to some big European club. Then we call them straight to Black Stars. When they're even 18 and 19. What happened at under 17 level? Why weren't they good enough to come into our national teams? Maybe that gives credence to the points Sicho is making. That maybe at that level, we really don't give the opportunities to the most talented. Instead, we settle on players that we know because we are very eager to make a quick buck. But the bottom line is, and Daniel is spot on, Sicho is spot on, that the failure and the downward spiral is not accidental. Since AFCON 2021, which we played in January 2022, Ghana has played 36 matches, 36 games. We have used 3 different coaches. One of them has had 2 spells. And in all that period, under CK, well, CK wasn't there from the AFCON, so Milo, Chris Hughton, and Otto twice.
Times 2, yes.
Otto, 2 terms. Milo, we've had Chris Hughton 4 different times. 3 different coaches. They've all combined for 9 victories in 35 games. They've won 9 games. They've lost 12. They've lost more than they have won. So bottom line is, something is wrong. And it's not even with the same group of players, because the team that played at AFCON 2021 to the team that played today, or yesterday, or on Thursday, has dramatically changed.
Yes.
So different coaches, different crop of players, same result. Why is that?
There's a constant.
Where is the self-introspection? So there must be some other reason why, as Sicho question, the players are so good talent-wise, and we see it day in, week out at their club levels. When they put on the national jersey, it's as if they've never played football before. How do you explain the chance that Kudus missed? Or Inaki Williams. This guy is deadly when he plays for Athletic Bilbao. When he puts on the national team jersey, it's like he's never kicked ball before. Anton Semenyo, he's in red-hot form. He puts on the Ghana jersey, nothing. It's inexplicable. I don't understand it. And don't tell me it's spiritual. Something else must be going on. Is it psychological? Maybe. How is it that we have a national team that has no psychologist?
They have.
They have.
Had no psychologist.
They have.
They have. Who is that?
They have a president. But don't see
Dear
his work.
Lord.
Don't see his work.
The national team of Ghana has no psychologist. 3 different AFCONs, qualifiers. We don't have one. So has anybody in leadership not sat back and realized and probably thought to themselves, maybe this isn't psychological? Joe says that the jersey is heavy. Why is that? He said they play with fear. Why is that? Don't you think that's where you need a psychologist to help them get and do away with that kind of fear? Because clearly, the issue is beyond coaching, it's beyond talent. So what is it? We must not leave any stone unturned in our efforts to try and address the matter. Because I genuinely think that while the other issues may exist, we still have enough talent to put together decent performances. That's where I stand. And so when the team doesn't perform, I have a problem. You cannot tell me that on the field of play, the team that we put out against Sudan, that we don't have enough talent to beat Sudan. Or the team we put up against Niger, that we didn't have enough talent to beat Niger. But we didn't get the result. Why is that?
Because talent is not everything.
Because talent is not everything. There must be some other issues. Whose job is it to fix the other issues? What are they doing? Because 10 speeches don't work, clearly. And shouting and what? Beating head and chest.
They train behind closed doors. But the
does.
psych eval and the therapy sessions are beamed for all of us to see. They are beamed for all of us to see.
It's not working.
Look, you have an FA, right? You have an FA that has more extra bodies accompanying the Black Star than technical team. I've said it before. Forget about Otto. That any serious national team won't have a coach and only 2 assistants plus a goalkeeper's coach. They won't win you anything. It's not enough.
That cannot be a full technical
It's not possible.
backroom staff for a national team. It's not enough.
We spend money on unnecessary things. We spend money on 100,000 on management committee members. We spend money on things that are
Not enough technical men.
But look, people are hiring throwing coaches and set piece coaches, and people are hiring.
Yes, we just have video analysts. We just have video analysts, 2 assistants, goalkeepers trainer, and coach.
Let me show you something.
Look, it's not possible. Kurt said himself, it's not possible this way. It's not possible this way. You won't win anything this way. And he more than anybody has to know this, right? And I feel for these coaches because Otto will do the best that he can, but he needs extra hands. Football is moving so fast. Look, Ghana's technical team has just about the same number as maybe Sudan's technical team. It's not possible.
Look.
Danny, go on.
Modern day football. Ghana, 16 corners. Sudan, 1. 16 corners. We don't have a set-piece coach. You are creating 16 corners in modern day football.
Chance upon chance.
These are chances. 16 corner chances.
There's no routine to it.
Yeah, Bokeke.
It's just like Yambon Tum played inside.
Look, football is a serious business, and that's why when the JV president, people don't look. I never speak about the JV. It's not. But people don't understand why. I, for one, am very, very disappointed in the way he spoke, and spoke as if he has no responsibility to the team. Everything that the team is going through for failure is on his desk. If he sits behind his desk, rather than following the Black Stars everywhere they go, and looks into the documents he has to look into, that is a place to start fixing Ghana's problems. Not going around and following the Black Stars whenever they are in town, and showing faces and putting himself on camera when the Black Stars are in town. His job proper is in the office. His job is on his desk. If he doesn't sit, he will keep failing.
Interesting. So that's what it is. Listen, Daniel will go to the screen for Guinness Match Day. But before that, let's hear from Otto. He has been speaking ahead of that game on Tuesday against Sudan and Libya. There's still a chance to qualify. Otto seems to believe that we will qualify. Let's listen to him.
To show what they can and to make the last result out of their heads. And I think it's obvious that we need goals. We created a lot of chances against Angola. We deserve to win this game. We didn't play well against Niger. In the last game, I think we also deserve to win. Very, very unlucky. But there's a speech in German like alle guten Dinge sind 3. So like, I think English is 3 times lucky. So I think we had 2 good games with Angola and also our last game with Sudan at home. And this is the third game now, and when we play the way we played the last game, we will win. I think in Ghana is Sinianim. Come Prensa. And I think it was good that Angola won. If Niger would have won and would have been past us, that would have been bad, I think. And now the situation is still in our hands, and we need to win this very much tomorrow. And once we are second, I think we all know and we saw that we can beat all of those teams we played against. And but once we are second, I think still in our own hands, and this is what we are looking for. So we're looking for tomorrow's win, and then we'll be back on track. They're willing to show what they.
All right, so that's Otto Addo. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. This is Sports Zone. We will take a very short break and come back with Guinea's match day. Do stay with us. But Danny K, what have you prepared for us, basically?
When I stand here, we are choosing to look at the football and only the football, and not the other things, because the show must go on. So we saw the way Ghana set up against Sudan in that opening game. And I was looking at Sudan's previous games at home. When they faced Niger, they set up in a quite similar manner, quite deep, defending, but then looking to catch the Nigerians on the counter. In fact, Niger had a really good attacking offensive display against Sudan. It was a set piece that helped Sudan win that game. So they were pretty similar to what we saw against the Black Stars. So if we are going with a similar setup tomorrow against the Sudanese, where we had our fullbacks pushing high, especially offensively, our fullbacks pushing very high up, given the width, and having our wingers sort of tucking in, occupying the half spaces. I think personnel will be very important. Now, when you look at the first 50, 60 minutes of the game, yes, we created a couple of decent chances, but I feel it wasn't until Iñaki came on that the chances started becoming a bit more frequent. And for me, that is because of the movement that he does in the final third. Iñaki is a very intelligent forward player. In fact, and we've seen some of his. The unfortunate thing is that most of it don't necessarily always end up in goals, so people don't really remember. But it creates lots of very good opportunities. And the goal I can remember, if you remember the Angola, when we went away against Angola, him drifting onto the wide, that 1-2, Joseph Pinsel cutting it for Osman Bukari. That's the sort of movement that he can give you. And when he comes or when he's playing, there's a certain level of fluidity in the front line. And we need that also because he also has some goals in him. If you are looking at the profile and the number of goals that he has, obviously he hasn't worked for the Black Stars, but how many of them have scored? You still have to put your best foot forward. I feel like we're a bit too static in that first half. The movement in the front line wasn't the best. Jordan is a sort who likes the ball played to feet, so he'll always drop deep wanting it. He's not going to make those runs in behind. And if you want to exploit that defense, there needs to be constant movements to drag the defenders away from their marking zones. So we look at Iñaki Williams. This is against Niger. So this is Iñaki. And from this, it doesn't really look like an opportunity. It looks like he's outnumbered. He's running into this zone, and that is occupied by two Nigerian defenders. But it's the way he just peels off them. Once Isahaku makes it, watch his run. He peels off, goes to the back post, and all of a sudden he has space for himself. He wasn't able to score, but
that should have been the goal.
Yeah, it's the intelligent movement that we need. Because look, and I always say this, it's always the movement that makes the pass look good.
Yeah.
If you are number 10, if you're a playmaker, and you have a static forward, you are going to have a difficult game.
Yes.
It's the runs that make the passes possible. So if you are not making those runs, you are going to make it very difficult for yourself. Now, this is Iñaki again in that game. Just to play this. Constantly on the move. He makes this, he wins the ball, and then the presence of mind to wait for support. And that's what he also has. He's a very good link-up team player. The finishing, sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. But when he's around, you know that you create spaces, you create openings. He waits for the support. I think his Kudus comes in, and all of a sudden he makes space for himself again. Is making this crossing. So I feel like in terms of personnel, I would sacrifice Semenyo in that left-hand channel and play either Semenyo or Nyama. But I'm leaning towards Nyama because Semenyo, Iñaki, Jordan have goals in them. They have more goals in them than Nyama. So I'll put Iñaki maybe on the right, but offer the two of them can, that is Iñaki and Semenyo, will be switching in that left and right channel. And the movement, the fluidity, Iñaki, if he's standing in that number 9, will be comfortable. Jordan coming to the right will be comfortable. So that there's constant movement in there. And also, when you look at this, because Iñaki was the starting number 9, once he occupied this zone, there was no willing runner to make the run of the number 9. But if you have, and again, with the setup that we went on Thursday, if you have Iñaki in this zone, Jordan and Semenyo can occupy this, and probably this will be a tap, and hopefully the spirit of the Kudus miss doesn't take over them on tomorrow. But again, look at Iñaki's movement again. And he's literally constantly willing to run, always looking for that opportunity to create.
Mobile.
Always mobile. Now, you look at him again. This is Iñaki. Points, he gets the pass from Salisu, good control, and it's a very good save by the goalkeeper. This was inches away. This could have been 2-0, and we may not even have been having this conversation, but it happened. Then this is Iñaki again, when he came on Thursday.
Against
Sudan. So this is Iñaki Williams again. Now, it's just the movement I want you guys to watch. He picks up, and as soon as Kudus picks up the ball, he's on the run, making that run into the channel. And this was, again, he made the cross in, but that number 9 run, Kudus's run it's not that instinctive number 9 center forward run. He should be attacking the 6-yard box for a tap-in. He attacked the near post, and he's a left-footed player, would have always, even if he got contact onto the ball, it would have been very difficult for him to divert it towards goal. So if you have Iñaki playing in that area, and you have another striker in there, Iñaki and Jordan and Semenyo, you'll be having a bit more end product to some of these scenarios that you create. Again, this is Iñaki Williams. At this point, he's surrounded, but the willingness to run, make space for himself. He uses Kudus as a decoy, goes into space, takes a shot. The guy is very intelligent, and I enjoy players like this.
That's why you would pick him to start.
To start the game.
On Tuesday.
Yeah, to start the game. And unfortunately, players like him they are overly judged on goals.
Right.
In a system that doesn't suit them, or a system that is not created to exploit his strengths. Exactly. So if you look at him at club level, Bilbao fans don't really bother themselves about his goals. It's his movement. When he's on the pitch, there are a bit more chances, or a lot more chances created. He has assists. They don't always look at his goals as the reason why he's a good player or he's not a good player. A player like Kai Havertz, a player like Bobby Firmino, they are not the type where you should just look at the goals. When they are around, other attacking players will have a lot more freedom to maneuver and a lot more opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net. This is Iñaki again. And look at the near post run that he makes. Takes the defender there, allows Kudus to make that 6-yard box run. And this is all about understanding. Because somebody who knows he's a striker will make the obvious run, which is straight down the middle. But the awareness to know that Kudus is behind him and Kudus is making that 6-yard box center run, he has to make the near post run. And it's just these little things. This one he did Ampam. But the last time he did Ampam, Kudus scored. That was at the World Cup. So it's a stylet. It's not like it's stylet. It's a disguised. Yeah, it's very intentional. Because the last time it happened, Kudus scored. So unfortunately, but yeah, this is why I would want Iñaki to start tomorrow, because we need a team that is short of confidence. Confidence is low in the camp. They've created a lot of chances. You need to start creating those opportunities, and the more you create, the more your chances of scoring are. And I think Iñaki represents that chance for us.
Fair enough. Yeah. Thank you very much, Daniel. That's that for Guinness match day. I've got a couple more messages. Nana Kwame says, people watch this Black Stars team play and tell me OA has a plan of play. Otto Addo, you mean. However, watch Man U and tell me Eric Ten Hag has no plan of play. Kwan and Crawford. Only Javi Christian. I think this is a jab at Daniki. I'm very sure of it. Anyway, let me read a few more messages and we'll bring in Karim shortly. We have individual quality players, but consistency is our problem. What's the main problem? Is it that our technical team are less experienced or the players are beyond the coach? Sam Tuga inside Ejura with a question. Good evening, Sports Zone. From all indications, nothing good will ever come out of Ghana football under Keto Kreku. Well, this one says, you are still mentioning Kivo Gary again. Is it not this Kivo Gary that could start taking, that could not make him score a simple tapping? Please stop that, Majesty, from Ho. That is not the reason. The guy who started
it's the same Kivo Gary that you took that he jammed and suspended. And
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I've got another one here that says, this is Michael from Inside. Michael says, Ghana will win by all means. Let Kudus remove the number 10 jersey.
That issue to some way.
Oh, Ghana. Yeah. You see, it's another case of not understanding the pulse of the situation, not applying a lot of discretion and a lot of wisdom. You know what I mean? The whole number 10 situation. Nobody has said that Kudus should not wear number 10. Hell, he should wear number 10 whenever he wants, if he wants. The problem is that there are so many circumstances around the national team at the moment that should let people apply a certain discretion to decision-making. So it's easy. England don't have that history. So England's team, in fact, they label the jerseys from who is starting, number 1 up to number 11. That's what they do. It's not the case in Ghana. The jersey numbers are assigned. You come to the national team, there are people with certain jersey numbers. Michael Essien wore number 8 all throughout until he left the national team. Suleiman Traore wore 11. Nobody else would come and wear 11. You don't do that until he retired, or at least until he was fully out of the team. Nobody picked his jersey number. Same for Essien, same for John Mensah, same for all those other big players who have played for this national team. And it's the same even today. Asamoah Gyan's number 3, nobody picked it, even in those moments when Gyan was out of the team. Until he was out of the team for good, nobody just handed another person his jersey number. So in this situation...
By this situation that they've not called the captain, Andrea, nobody should wear the number 10.
Who wore Thomas Partey's jersey number?
Oh, somebody would have won it.
Nobody.
Maybe the player didn't play.
Oh, number 5.
Oh, somebody
wore on the pitch.
Because
who wore it?
Somebody has to. Because international games are such that jersey numbers have to be taken care of.
No, nobody has said jersey numbers should not be taken care of. I'm saying that apply some discretion.
No, my point is, if you are going to add a captain's armband to it, what do you show 20?
That's what I'm saying. So discretion. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, he can do both.
No,
the number 10 is for somebody.
It's not for anybody.
If you're not good enough to be in the team, you're not good enough to wear the 10. But when you wear the 10, you should know that
everybody can wear 10.
Extras.
Goalkeepers can have 1 10.
Nobody wore 5.
Nobody wore 5. True. Nobody wore 5.
But 10, there's somebody can wear.
Yes.
And 42.
So that's the point. Another captain wasn't in the team. Nobody wore his jersey.
Well, that is their own.
No, but I'm saying that is not applying enough discretion to the situation.
No, but Partey wasn't in the team because he was ill.
Yes. And another was not in the team because he was out of form and the manager didn't call him.
No.
Yes.
The first time the manager didn't call him, he was in in fact, he was a better goal scorer than every Ghanaian forward.
Yeah, that was then. Now he wasn't in the team because he was out of form.
Oh no, the guy has moved. See, Otto, he has to be bold and tell Ghanaians that.
That is the point. Communication, yes. No one has said it.
Even if the man is not done, and somebody wants to wear the 10, the person can wear it. But the person must be ready with the extras it comes with. Because it's a running story.
And the impressions that's what I mean by understanding the history, institutional knowledge. By understanding the issues. So that's what I mean by
you are saying the same thing.
In the different national team, it might not be an issue.
Yeah.
In Ghana's national team, it will be an issue.
Friends, Karim is coming here.
Karim,
But wait, before Karim...
what is he coming to tell us?
Before Karim comes in, 5 seconds. Look, coaching, what makes it easier for you to get your philosophy across is time and contact hours.
Right.
If I'm taking you Monday to Friday, every day, and I have a competitive game at the end of the week for 3 years, and still my players are struggling, then I have a problem, not my players.
You are addressing
but if somebody is seeing his players 2 times every 3 months, how can you compare the two? If God is truthful and you know God is truthful, then you apply logic to this situation.
Especially when the players you see every day are players you yourself brought to
It's okay, you have defended yourself well.
It's not about defending myself, it's about applying logic.
What's happening?
It's time for examples.
It's
time for me to my example.
Yes.
If I come here 4 weeks in a row,
Yes.
late in those 4 weeks, then I come to tell you that I come to lie that my laptop, something was happening, so I had to fix it before I get
That's why you came late.
My fast ready.
I will not buy it.
Every week, in those 4 weeks, I come to say the same thing.
Yes.
Then, the 5th week, the excuse I'm giving...
It will not wash.
The excuse I'm giving is the truth.
Yes.
But because I've been telling lies...
I will not buy it. All of it to say what?
All of it to say that Otto said the Black Stars were unlucky on Thursday.
Right.
But we didn't buy it, did we? We were laughing at him. But actually, the ball they played on Thursday, I think was the best we've seen them throughout the time he has taken over in the second season. But because they've been failing...
I get your analogy now. Because they've consistently underperformed.
Yes.
Now nobody's buying the excuse that they were unlucky.
Until they win.
Okay.
Now, let's take a statistical review of the game they played on Thursday at the Accra Sports Stadium.
All right.
In that game, all right, they've played 60% of the possession and Sudan 40%. But especially if you're asking me, this 60%, looking at how deep Sudan sat and they were not coming out, it will be low if you're looking at those positions they've taken. Sudan have just considered that they were not coming out of their shots. Their game plan was, and we just managed more than just 60% of the possession. We should have managed more than that. But if you are comparing it to the 2 other qualifiers we've played in this AFCON qualifying campaign, it is within those range of possession that they are having. Again, the game against Angola, we managed just 57% of possession, and the one against Niger, 61%. So the possession, they are dominating the games, but it is what they are doing with it. Now let's look at the total shots. In this game, we managed 20 shots in total, the Black Stars, and Sudan managed just 6. So if you are comparing these 20 to the previous games, the other 2 games we played in the qualifiers, against Angola, we attempted 18 shots. Do you know how many of them were on target? Just 7. That is about 27% of the shots we attempted in that game that were on target. And we didn't score. 7 shots, we didn't score. 7 were on target out of 18. And that, the other game against Niger, we attempted just 6 shots.
In the whole game?
In the whole game. And we scored 1 goal.
Yes.
And that was like sort of a hopeful goal.
Right.
That is a decline in the number of shots they've attempted.
That's the inconsistency.
So
and then right after that...
Then we did 20. From 18
to 7
to 6.
To 6 to 20.
To 20. You don't... And in this one, we attempted 20 shots, couldn't score a goal. Out of... Now let's come to the big chances created. In the game against Angola, we created only 1 big chance. We couldn't score. The other game against Niger, we created 2 big chances and scored 1 goal. This game, we created 4 big chances.
And didn't score 1.
No, but wait, the big chances we created against Niger, we didn't score from those big chances.
Yes.
So it was 2 big chances created, 0 goals from the big chances.
But it is just like an estimation that on average, it means that if we are creating 2 big chances, we'll score 1. In the game against Angola, we created 1 big chance. We didn't score. And in this game, so if we're looking at, if they were consistent with how they were playing, creating 2 big chances against Nigeria, you scored 1. Then this game, you created 4 big chances. It means that we expected to score 2 goals, but we missed all of them. It was like they were in sort of competition against each other to see who can miss the more big chances. Now, look, let's talk about the corners. This game, some people, when we were watching the game and you put out a post, you see that the comments, they were like, oh, this one, we should be asking for Arsenal to bring us their set-piece coach. 16 corners. The whole year of last year, up to this year, there is no game that the Black Stars have managed more than 9
corners than this one.
Yes, more than 9 corners.
Wow.
And in this game alone, we managed 16 of them. The whole of
hit one crossbar from one.
One of them. So I'm just thinking that if I had gone beyond last year, I would have maybe gone the whole year as well without seeing a game that would have played more than 16 corners in that game. Now I want to talk about the positioning in this game, especially how a lot of people were seeing it that the 2 holding midfielders that Otto Addo were playing, it was like sort of preventing the team from progressing the ball. But the 2 midfielders not being the typical ball progressors that you'd have in a team, there was another means of the team progressing the ball. That is through the fullbacks.
Yes.
Gideon Mensah and Ali Duseidou. They were the 2 players that passed the ball most into the final third. Ali Duseidou, I think, managed about 8 of them, 8 balls into the final third. Then Gideon Mensah. Look at their average positions. This is the average positions of the Ghana and the Black Stars.
Very high up the pitch.
Yes, it means that on average, just about 3.5 players were in Ghana's half. The rest of them were beyond the Ghana half. Look at this. This is Ali Duseidou. This is Ibrahim Suleiman, and this is
Elisha
Owusu. Ali Duseidou, on his average position, was beyond all the 2 defensive midfielders. It means that there was a game plan for these 2 to help in the defensive...
to push very high up.
To help in the defensive work, and Ali Duseidou and Gideon Mensah were allowed to go forward. So let's look at this. This is just corresponding to the average positioning of the Black Stars. These were the Sudanese players. It means that on average, just 3 of them were also in Ghana's half, and the rest of the 10 outfield players were in Ghana's half. Now, let me just ask a simple question around the table. Sicho, if I asked you in that game, who was your best player, and how will you rate him, and who was the worst Ghana players?
Ali Duseidou was my best player on the pitch. Look, many people say Ali Duseidou. I said Ibrahim Suleiman was my best player in the middle of the park. I thought he was very disciplined, picked very good positions. It was the reason why Ali Duseidou excelled in the way he played. And he was my best player.
But Ali really excelled, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, he did.
And the West, Ghana.
Worst player on the pitch. I don't think they were.
For me, I think the best either Alidu or Suleiman. But I think Alidu will edge it. Yeah. And then the West for me, Nyama.
For me, the West would be Jordan. Rebecca, I know what he can do. On the day, he seemed very off. I think there were many other things that were perhaps distracting him.
Okay.
He didn't look the same.
We have come to the end of your segment.
So this is what I want to show. Just a simple one, a brief one. So these are the ratings of FootMove. I decided not to do the ratings myself and just put this together. So the best player according to them, and that was backed by statistics, is Ali Duseidou. He was the player with the joint most dribbles, with the second most chances created, and the most clearances made of any ball recoveries made of any outfield player. Then the second was Mohamed Kudus. Mohamed Kudus created the most chances, joint most dribbles, and the player to have passed the ball most into the forward zones of the game. And another surprising stat is the two defensive midfielders that were mostly in Ghana's half, they also completed the second joint most highest passes into the final forward zones.
Ghana dominated possession, so that really doesn't surprise me. But that's caring for Ghanaian players abroad. Thank you very much. And I think that's how we'll bring an end to our show. But like I told you guys, I came bearing gifts from the Fever people. Yes.
Fever,
champion.
When you signed on to Joyce, they didn't bring yogurt.
They didn't bring us yogurt. Anyway, that's our show. Hopefully Ghana will win on Tuesday. We wish them all the best. We'll be back again on Monday. Until then, do take care of yourself and bye-bye.